Can you break down what the team looks like and what
Yes.
everyone does?
Yeah, so there's three distinct teams. So there's creative team, production team, and post production. And so those are like the main areas. And then we have management, which is kind of like more that's outsourced. They're part of the team, but they're a separate company, and but they collaborate with us all the time. And so they're all a part of the a part of the machine. But so creative team is comprised of three people. So our creative director Max, and then we have two Sams, and they're the associate creative director. So they're really the ones that are kind of doing the nitty gritty. Excuse me, the nitty gritty. Okay, we have they're like coming up with like 40 ideas, and then like studying, researching like on what's popular on YouTube, and then they're coming up with ideas. They're pitching them to Max. Max is like, okay, these are great ideas. Let's work together. Let's develop some of these. These are great. And then they go and pitch it to Eric and are like, hey, here's these ideas. What do you think? And then from whatever he says, they then develop the ideas that he really likes. And so that's a creative team. Then there's a production team, which I've been like blessed enough to be a part of the thing for so long that I kind of had my own like say in how to build it, right? So for a year it was just me. So from that Tesla video that you saw, the first one, up
Hmm.
until February of this year, it was I produced every single video single handedly by myself. So like
Damn.
until like the Spider-Man video that where we climbed a building, like every single video was solely pre-produced by me, which is you could imagine doing that for a year is just like it's insane. Like I literally pre-produce videos sometimes in 2 days, like 2 to 3 days. That was like our turnaround time of like you need to figure out how to do this video in 3 days. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll figure it out. Now it's like I'm like I need 2 weeks. Like give me 2 weeks. Like I used to be able to do it in 3 days. I'm like, yeah, but we like scaled up production by 100 times, 400 times. Like it's just insane. We joke about it all the time. Like what happened to you being able to produce videos in 3 days with $1,200? I'm like, what happened to
Yeah.
you guys coming up with with ideas that only cost $1,200 that I could do in 3 days? Um, so we joke about that a bunch. But so the production team now, I built it out in a way where there's a producer for every two videos. So the producer is assigned two videos, or they kind of what I do is I say, hey, which videos are you guys passionate about? And this is like a new role for me
Hmm.
because I recently transitioned to this, and so it looks like okay, what videos are you guys like passionate about? What like fits your skills and your strengths, right? And what are areas that
Hmm.
you also want to grow in? Are there videos that you want to take on to try and learn about? So the producers will kind of head up the individual productions. So each producer will take on two videos, and then underneath them is an associate producer who's also like, if we're to use traditional terms, who's more of like production coordinator, production manager. They're the ones who are looking for things, booking things, calling, paying for things, getting contracts signed,
Hmm.
all of that stuff. The producer is kind of more like the visionary of like, here's the video, here's how we actually make it happen, here's how we're going to piece it together, so on and so forth. So we have two
And how many
producers
producers?
two
Sorry, go
producers
ahead.
and two associate producers. So we have four people on the team now. And the next thing that we're going to be hiring for would be a production
And what's your
manager.
title? Are you one of the
Um,
one of the two producers, or are you kind of
so,
like head producer?
yeah. So the technical term, which is like I don't have it yet. It's kind of just like where I am, not like in it right now. Is like technically, if you were to look at it, it would be executive producer. That would be like a
Hmm.
traditional term. What we call it is lead producer because there's another role above me which hasn't been hired for yet, which is like as we build out the production team, which would be someone who has a lot of experience in production, especially in social media production, and they would technically either be VP of production or head of production. So the head of
Got it.
production would be overseeing not only the production team, but then creative timelines and post production timelines. So they're kind of like the overseer of everything to make sure every single thing is happening. I'm purely responsible for just keeping production timelines and budget. That's like I'm basically just like an executive line producer. That's what I would technically be called. I'm just like a line producer. So I'm keeping the budget, keeping the schedule, making sure everything's running smoothly. So that's the production team. Then the post production team is comprised of Mac. So he's the head editor, head of post production. Mac oversees 4 or 5 editors. So he's also we're trying to figure this out, but like he's technically editing videos still, which we're trying to get him out of so he can be more like of the director, like a creative director, so he can like help develop
Hmm.
ideas. But we have two story editors, so they're the ones who are actually piecing the video together. there's like it's A and B team, not because like one's better than the other, but because it's just easier to use letters to separate things. So the A team is the story editors, right? So they're the ones who are like really cutting up the story, doing all the graphics, making sure the video is told in a way that's for YouTube, but also like they're just editors. They're like your typical editor. Then there's the B team editors who what they do is cut all the video. So they get all the footage. They're just like a cut editor. That's all they do. They just sit, they look at footage, they get the kind of basic story beats of it. They get it into something called selects, and then the story editors take it from selects into a full video.
Got it. Okay.
So that's kind of basic. And then Mac is he's also editing right now just because our videos are crazy and we just need more hands, and he's our fastest editor.
Got it. Okay. So total, it seems like it was three on the creative.
We're sitting at about 13 to 14 employees.
Okay. So pretty lean still.
Full time. Yeah, very, very
Nice.
lean. Very lean.
And who's doing the hiring? And you mentioned like Zach, or like day one, or is that one day?
One day
is kind of doing the management stuff, right? So like the business stuff, helping with Creator Now, the Pizzafy kind of like products you guys have. Are they helping with doing the hiring as well, or who's doing that on the team?
Yeah. So we have another person who does that. His name is Benji. He's awesome. He's kind of like, his title's operations manager, but he's more just like manager. Like he's like helps Zach with like brand deals and for the channel. And then Benji's also in charge of finding and sourcing talent.
If you like this short clip, make sure to check out the full interview right here and subscribe to the channel for more behind the scenes interviews with the people working for your favorite entrepreneurs and creators.